What's going on, everyone? It's Corey here from the Breakevens, giving you another podcast today. This time it is AFL Supercoach. I'm sorry I couldn't get one out last week. I had a problem with my eye and I was blinking every second. It was irritating, and you would have been like, what is going on? So I decided to have the week off, put myself on the injury list, and back this week. So I'm glad to be back. Last week was crazy. Had 4 people out, suspensions, injuries. I only had one trade left. I made that trade. I'll show you in a second. And I copped a donut, so not good, not good. But damage wasn't too bad. But I'll get into that a little bit further. So just before I get into our socials, if you have not seen, I am doing FPL content. What is FPL? That's Fantasy Premier League. So if anyone follows the Premier League and you want to get into the fantasy, it should be opening up very soon. I've got it on my phone and I'm reloading the page because I'm waiting to get in as soon as possible. But I am doing content on FPL, and the first video slash podcast went up a couple days ago, and it was on price reveals. It goes for about 40 to 45 minutes. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested in FPL or you've played FPL before and you want some content, check out the our latest video just before this one. And you can see it all there. And there will be one coming out over the weekend, which will be the end of the player price reveals that we've got over the last couple days. And then I might do my first draft team as well. So if you're interested in FPL, go check that out. Like and follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and here on YouTube. So talking about those, on Twitter at Breakevens Pod, everything is posted there about this podcast, FPL podcast. I usually tweet about the games, scores, everything like that. I'm really active in the community. I'm always trying to reach out to people. So if you have any questions, make sure you give us a follow there, and you can fire away. If it's a personal message on a post, whatever it is, make sure you ask. I love interacting. I will get back to you. And on Facebook, the Breakevens Facebook page, everything else is posted there. So if you don't have Twitter, you can do it on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. So let's get into how my Supercoach team went. I'll show you the score, the ranks, and then I'll get into my team. This might be a quicker one because I don't have any trades. Means I can talk about captains a little bit more. So let me flick over to Supercoach. So here we are, 2,159. Disappointing, but wasn't a bad result, and you'll see why in a second. Obviously, dropped down 1,269 ranks, which isn't ideal, but it is what it is. I knew I was going to have a lower score this week, but to still reach 2-1, I'll take it. I was hoping for 2-2, but we'll take 2-1. So what you will be able to see down here, though, is trades available 0 out of 0 because I used my last one last week. And obviously, there was no pod last week due to my eye, so you would be unaware. So let's go into how that team looked last week, and I'll talk you through the trade I did. So this is how I lined up last week, and you can see some problems. If you look in the defense, McGovern did not play. Will Dawson, Zach Reed also did not play. Forward line, you can see on the bench, Zach Fisher didn't play. If he did play, I would have had cover, which would have been great, but did not happen. And also on field, you will see I had to field Reveal, Dowling, and McMullen. Obviously, Dowling did the job with 101. McMullen, I'm happy with. He scored a 67. but Reveal was the sub and only scored 8, which hurt. And my VC and C didn't really work out for me either. Merritt into Dunkley. But if you look at my side, really, unless I went Golden or Butters, because I'm not going to be honest, I wasn't looking at Martin at all. I thought Merritt would have done a lot better. But it is what it is. So Sheasel 75 in defense, not great. Actually, but before I get through that, my last trade, I had Isaac Rankin. Obviously, he was out for the 4 weeks. So I traded him to Jai Caldwell. That was my last trade. Or else I would have copped 2 donuts. I was looking at getting rid of McGovern, but with Rankin being out for 3 to 4 weeks, it was a no-brainer. So Caldwell came in. So let's go back through my team. So Sheasel 75 was really disappointing. I felt like he would have had a quieter game, but I wasn't expecting that quiet. Dacos 89 wasn't the most efficient game from Dacos. Should have easily been 110, but didn't use the ball that well. So stuck with 89 there. Luke Ryan 98. He seems to be on a bit of a slump, but I believe Alex Pearce should be back, so we might see Luke Ryan back on the up. McGovern didn't play. Maxi Holmes 118, very happy there, and Nick Martin, very, very good 142. Happy with that. I almost got rid of him a couple of weeks ago. Decided to get rid of Ridley. That worked out, but what didn't work out is Ridley has outscored Max Holmes both times, or at least the scores are adding up, and he's outscored Holmes in the last 2 weeks. So not great there. Bond 108, take that. Dunkley 103, I was expecting more. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to get Neil or Dunkley. I went Dunkley, and that has kicked me in the butt. But 103, he did more than Merritt, so that's a win. Butters 120, very happy. Golden 142. I almost changed my VC to Golden, but I was like, nah, back in Merritt. Shouldn't have. Merritt 82, underwhelming. Walsh 95. Green 93, and Rosie 105. English 85, disappointing once again, but I think he's a good chance this week. And Luke Jackson 116 with Shrek Darcy out. Unfortunately, Shrek Darcy looks to be back this week, so I'm just glad I had Jackson to cover Gorn, which, by the way, Gorn will be going through some fitness tests to see if he plays this week. So he's out of the moon boot. He says he feels good, but we'll see by the end of the week. Flanders 106 keeps chugging on. Caldwell debuted of 110. He's an absolute machine. Some scary news, though. He's training away from the main group and looks to be managed a little bit. So there might be a little niggle there. I'm not sure, but keep your eyes on him. Zorko 93. And as I said, Reveal was sub. Dowling did what he had to, 101. And McMullen did well with 67. So that was my team. Underwhelming. Had a donut. Reveal was the sub, so not great. Now, this week, obviously, I can't trade. So what I'm going to do is this. I'll switch everyone back. You can see me do that. So I'm going to sub Fisher in. Hopefully he plays. If he doesn't, then I know I have Dowling and McMullen, and I should be able to win a North playing the last game, so I'll be able to rookie roulette that. But this is my completed team if everyone plays. So Sheasel, Dacos, Ryan, McGovern, Holmes, Martin, Bont, Dunks, Butters, Gordon, Merritt, Walsh, Green, Rosie, Gorn and English, Flanders, Heaney, Caldwell, Zorko, Fisher, and Jackson. So obviously defense bench is trouble, but the good thing is Dawson and Fisher can be swapped. And Dowling and Reveal can be swapped if one of them aren't playing. So I do have cover, but it's risky. So look, I'm pretty happy with the team. Obviously, I probably would have liked to get rid of Green, and maybe Fisher, but it is what it is. So this week, I haven't really looked at captains, but looking at the fixture here, Essendon, Essendon versus Adelaide, not really looking there. No. Collingwood against Hawthorn could be a shout. I like Bont against Geelong. Butters or Rosé against Richmond could be huge. Fremantle, Melbourne. Right. Well, let's move over to DFS Australia, and I will talk through my thoughts on captains through there. All right, so we're back on DFS Australia. As you know, this is where I try and gauge my VC and Cs from. So here it's got every team, every, I guess, position or role, apart from Tagger, because Taggers don't really score that well, or consistently, that is. And it's the last 5 games, Super Coach. So if you see a plus, that means that many points over their average. So if you look here, key forward against Adelaide, let's say, so it's against Essendon. So let's say Peter Wright's playing and he averages 75. Going off this, you'd book him in for a 68 to 69 point game. That's the whole, I guess, process of it. Obviously, things happen in games. Peter Wright could go absolutely bananas and kick 4 in the first quarter, but these are just averages over the last 5 games. So we'll go through each game and then the players and how it looks. So we have the Bombers versus the Crows first up. And really, you're looking at Merritt or Martin. So inside mids. So Zach Merritt is an inside mid against Adelaide, plus 4.32 points more on the average. So you'd say that is a good fixture. And definitely someone who you could look at. It is at Marvel as well. If it was at Adelaide Oval, it might be a little bit different. But that is very good. Now, looking at Nick Martin, a general defender or a designated kicker, it is not great. So I think Essendon, I think you're going Zach Merritt. A lot of you will say, what about Caldwell? Well, we don't know if he's playing. There's a little injury cloud there. So if you wanted to go a Bombers man, we know who it is. It's Zach Merritt. Now for Adelaide, Laird or Dawson, the real only options. So inside mids against Essendon, plus 1.14 points. So they could do well, but in this game, I'd probably be looking towards Zach Merritt as a VC. So now we'll move to the Giants and the Suns. So Giants, you're probably looking at a Whitfield or a Tom Green. So sorry about that. So we'll look at Gold Coast. So inside mids against Gold Coast, 2.87 for Tom Green. So again, could have a good game. It's at Giants Stadium. He typically plays better there. So it could be on the cards. Now, Lockie Whitfield, a designated kicker or a general defender. Not great if he's a designated kicker. Now that usually means if they take kickouts, and they look towards. So not great there. A general defender, it says here, includes key defenders and general defenders that aren't classified as attacking above or designated kickers below. So you'd say Whitfield is a designated kicker, which means against Gold Coast, minus 5.71 Supercoach points. So not great there. So might not be looking towards a Giants player in this game. The Suns, so let's go to GWS, inside mids, minus 4.34. Not really what you're looking at. And if you look across the board, GWS are a tough matchup. So I don't actually think it is safe going for a Suns player. You could potentially go Sam Flanders at that designated kicker with a plus 2.95. Is probably the only one you would look at. But it's up to you. If it's a VC, you can always take that punt, but not looking great there. So we move to the next game, which is the Saints versus the Eagles. So Saints versus the Eagles. You look at West Coast, key forwards, inside mids, rucks, wing defenders, general defenders typically do well. So who do we have? We have Jack Steele, +7 Supercoach points. Could definitely look there as a spike game. If you have Rowan Marshall, almost a no-brainer. The interesting one is that wing defender. So here, wing defender includes both wing and attacking defenders who push up the ground. So that's your Wanganeen Miller's, your Jack Sinclair's. So they might actually be great shouts there. So if it was me, I can't really trust Steele. I would do a VC on Jack Sinclair if it was me. Which actually also about St Kilda. Forgot to say this before. Matthias Philippou is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hip. So if you brought him in, you need to trade him back out if you can, which is not great news. And Gareth Southgate just resigned from England. About time. So now we go to St Kilda. Winged defenders and general defenders usually score well. So a general defender for West Coast would be Jeremy McGovern. So that could be, if he's back, a sneaky VC shout and potentially someone who I might look at. Now your winged defenders for West Coast, you don't really you have McGovern. Some might have Harley Reid. You don't really have anyone else. So McGovern plus 14.36 Supercoach for general defenders. Could definitely look at Jerry McGovern there. Hawks versus the Pies. This will be interesting. So at the MCG, we'll go to Collingwood, key forwards, general defenders, inside mids, rucks, and designated kickers score well. So what I'm seeing here, Dylan Moore, general defender, general forward, and what a general forward does here. Where is it? General forward. It's for the small/medium forwards as well as half forwards that push up the ground from time to time. That's Dylan Moore, +9. Inside mids, +9 as well. So if you have Will Day could go off. Some might have Meek. You could go there, but I think you put all your chips on Dylan Moore or Will Day in this game. We'll move to for Collingwood. So Hawthorn, general defenders, yes. Inside mids, not great. Rucks, winged defenders, general defenders, and designated kickers. Everyone has Dacos. Well, most people have Dacos. Playing inside mid at the moment, not looking good. Now, obviously, it's Nick Dacos. He can come out, he can smash it. I'm just going off these stats here over the last 5 games. Inside mids don't typically do well. But you could look towards him. But I really like Will Day in this game. I think it was, if I was choosing someone in this game, I would go Will Day. Geelong versus the Dogs. So we'll start with Geelong here. A ruck. So Tim English could have a big spike game here. Could be someone to look towards. And it doesn't look good for anyone else. Obviously, Bont does what he wants. So you could go on to Bont, but I think English looks the better option. And the Bulldogs, yeah, tough matchup for Geelong. So I definitely go Tim English. The other one is Port versus Richmond on that Saturday night. So let's go. Port come up first. Rucks. So if you have Toby Nankervis, I would be heavily contemplating putting a VC or C on the Nank because he is a tank. Apart from that, you're not really going anywhere else. And so against Richmond, key forwards do well. For Port, general forwards, inside mids, it's about a 50-50. Ruck, winged defenders, and designated kickers. So Dan Houston could have a day out. Do I think you could put the VC on or C on Rosie or Butters? Yes, I'd still think you can. Lions versus Swans is going to be a tough one. So the Lions key forwards do well, and that's about it. So it's not looking great for your Heenies. Grundy minus 12 super coach points. So that could be a tough one there. The Swans, yeah, look, inside mids -7. Will they tag Lockie Neal? If they tag Lockie Neal, Dunkley could see some more ball, so it could be a bit of a risky captain there. But you got two good teams, one informed team and the best team in the comp that are on a 2-game losing streak and looking to bounce back. So that will be interesting. Dockers versus the D's come up next. So Dockers designated kickers, which no one really has a Melbourne player except for Max Gawn. So we'll look Ruck plus 2.99. So Gawn, if he's back, could do something there. As we move to Melbourne, general defenders. So Luke Ryan with Alex Pearce back could be a great captain shout. Yes, he's on a bit of a slump, but could bounce back here and definitely a good C option. Apart from that, you could go a Sarong. All right, I'll give you that. You could go a Sarong, but I think Luke Ryan just a bit more favorable going off these stats. And the Blues versus North. So key forwards against the Blues do well. No Ruck. So Tristan Cherry, owners could have a day out. Pitternet did play last week alongside with Tom DeConning, depending how that goes. But I like Cherry there. Forwards, no. And it's not really looking great for a Sheasel captain there. So we move to North. Winged defenders. So your Nick Newmans could go well here. It is North Melbourne, so I would bet on a Walsh or a Cripps going off here as well. But just going off that, Nick Newman could be a cheeky shout. So what am I going to do? That is a question. So I could, me personally, if we switch over to my team, I'm either going McGovern or Merritt as VCs. I think into Butters or Luke Ryan. I think those would be my options. So I think if I had the VC on merit, I'd maybe go a bit safer with Ryan. But I think actually no. I think Luke Ryan will be my captain. It'll just depend on Merritt and McGovern there. If McGovern doesn't play, then it's obviously just going to be Merritt. And I'll choose between Ryan and Butters, but I'm leaning towards Ryan here. So that's roughly how my team will line up. If Fisher doesn't play, the good thing is North Melbourne have the last game. So I'll have the emergency on Billy Dowling. If he scores well, nice and easy, I just leave Fisher there. If he doesn't score well for whatever reason, I will probably risk it with McMullen, which will all depend on if he starts a sub. Which if he doesn't start a sub, I think I might take that punt. But that is my team for this week. So that's it for this podcast. Good luck for this round. Don't forget, if you like FPL, I'm doing podcasts and content on Twitter, on my Facebook, and podcasts here on YouTube. So make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Breakevens Pod, the Breakevens Facebook page, and here on YouTube. Good luck for this week. Hopefully we get Fisher back, because I know a few of us are sweating on that, but let's see some green arrows this week. So thank you all for watching and listening, and until next time, it's bye for now.